This week, I'll lead you through a Yin Yoga practice focusing on the hips and the pelvic area. This is a slow, all levels practice, releasing tensions throughout the whole body. Let's get started. For this Yin practice, a few props might be very helpful. So we have one very crucial prop. That would be a bolster, but you could use cushions, you could roll a blanket, or use any kind of small pillows to replace a bolster if you don't have one of these at home. And then another prop that I will use in a couple of poses is a yoga strap. Instead of a yoga strap, you could use a belt, you could have a towel, just something that helps us to reach our hand to our feet when we are in a couple of poses. But this is more of an optional prop. And then I have a couple of blocks here. I might use them, I might not use them. So I suggest having also some smaller props just around the mat in case you want to use them. And then once you have all that ready, we're going to start by lying down on the belly, but with a bolster or that cushion pillow under the belly and under the chest. So bring your bolster under the side of your torso, and then you might lean your head over the bolster. You can bring hands under the head if that feels good, but just so that you have some support under the torso. And this gives a little bit more space for the hips, for the legs to look for a shape that feels good now. You might leave your legs just extended. You can have them closer together, you can have them wider apart. But you also have an option to bring your legs into some form of a butterfly or a frog shape. So you might rotate your hips into a more open, like a diamond shape if you want. So it's our first pose, and if there's a lot of tension around the hips, just find a more gentle shape for the legs. And once you have found that shape, give yourself a few just slightly slower, slightly deeper breaths in and out. You could start by letting out a couple of sighs, exhaling through the mouth, inhaling through the nose. And just let those exhalations soften the hips, the belly, your back, your shoulders. As you settle into your pose, you might feel the need to make some adjustments. You might adjust your arms, you might adjust your legs. And then after any adjustments, let yourself find back to your stillness. Observing your breath. And allowing those breaths to soften tension.
Or we could spend another 5 to 10 breaths in the pose you're in right now. You can allow those breaths to slide down towards the belly, down towards the pelvic floor. After or at the end of your 5 to 10 breaths, if you have your legs in some sort of a butterfly or frog shape, just slowly slide your legs along onto the mat, releasing any opening you had in the hips. Just gently rock the pelvis from side to side. If you've had hands under the head, slowly slide your hands under your shoulders. And then with a slightly bigger breath in and out, we're going to bring ourselves onto hands and knees. And from hands and knees, we'll round the back into child's pose. And at this point, you can decide if you want to bring your legs close together or if you'd like to open your legs wider apart. You can use your bolster, your pillows under the chest or head. Or if you feel that there's a lot of tension around the hips, you might also bring your bolster between the legs so it's supporting the pelvis. Or you might decide you don't want to use any props in this child's pose. You can also move the bolster aside and just lean your head, your chest down towards the mat. Also notice how you feel around the shoulders. You might bring arms down next to your legs. Or you might reach your arms between the legs if that feels good. Allow the back side of your pelvis to soften, to release down towards the feet. Softening the pelvic floor. Allowing yourself to feel the weight of your pelvis, that heaviness sinking down. If at any point there's pain, pinching at the front of the hips, you can always adjust your legs. Or you might bring a bolster under the belly so there's more space between your belly and your thighs. We have about 1 more minute in this child's pose. If you start to feel that you need to come out of the pose earlier, you can always find your way lying down on the belly, on the mat. To listen to your body and practice with kindness. If anything starts to hurt, then let yourself adjust. Give yourself a few more breaths in your child's pose, if you're still there. Allow these few breaths to be just a bit deeper, just a bit bigger. You might feel your breaths all the way down in the belly, lower back. And then after those few breaths, or when you feel ready, slowly start to bring yourself onto hands and knees, onto all fours. And we're going to step the knees a bit wider, step the hands a bit wider, and start to circle the pelvis. You might circle the weight from hands to knees if you'd like to create a bigger movement. Or just focus on moving the pelvis, allowing the hip joints to circle. Or you might visualize yourself drawing circles in the air with your tailbone. And you could change the direction. And just a gentle movement. Smooth movement going through those circles, finding all the edges evenly along those circles. Also breathing along those circles, so we're not holding our breath. And then you can let the movement calm down and bring yourself lying down on the belly. But bring a bolster, bring a cushion under the chest, so your chest is slightly elevated off the mat. So we are arriving into a Sphinx pose to begin with. And for this next pose, we could use the strap. We could have a belt there ready in case you want to use that. And we're going to start by bringing ourselves into the half frog pose. So once you've found a good place for your bolster, for your cushion under the chest, start to slowly rotate the right hip open, bending the right knee and sliding the right knee up along the floor. Maybe the knee comes to hip height, maybe a bit higher, maybe a bit lower. Or you might even extend that right leg further out to the side, looking for some opening, some sensations maybe around the inner thigh, the groin area on that right hand side. And you can stay here. This might be the best place for you now, allowing you to focus on the hips, the pelvic area. If you want to combine this with cat pulling its tail, then you could bend your left knee, so lifting the left foot up into the air, and that might give some more opening at the front of that left thigh, front of the left hip. And we might use left hand to reach for the foot. Or we might use that strap, belt, and bring the strap around the left foot or ankle. And then especially if you have a longer strap, you might just gently support the foot, the ankle with a strap. You might bring the other end of the strap all the way to where you have your head, where you have your hands, so you don't need to reach your left arm behind you. And just find a place where you have a shape that you want to focus on now. Bending the left leg is very optional. You can always keep that left leg down on the mat. And as we stay longer, if you start to feel tension in the neck, if you have a block or some other smaller props there, you could bring some support under the head. So we're just using the props to make the pose as easy as possible, so that we could release tension as much as possible today in this moment. And if you notice that you are holding a lot of tension in maybe 1 or 2, 3 areas of your body, to see if there's something you could do to make it just a bit easier on yourself. It's really okay if we find an easy way through the practice. And then we're breathing. Those gentle breaths in and out. And just softening with each breath out. Releasing tension. And we could spend another 5 to 10 breaths in this half frog or half frog pulling its tail, wherever you are in your pose. Just notice how you feel now. Just notice how you're breathing right now. And then at the end of your 5 to 10 breaths, or when you feel ready to do so, if you have that left leg bent, you can slowly release the left leg down. If you were using a strap, you can still use or leave the strap around the foot. And we'll start to release the right leg down, just sliding the right leg next to the left leg. And then breathing in and out. Slowly slide your bolster away Bringing your chest, your head down onto the mat, or you can bring hands under the head. And just take a few breaths in and out. Notice where you feel the pose now. Take another breath in and out, just resting on the belly. If you want, you can gently rock the pelvis again from side to side. And then as our next pose, we're going to go into a reclining twist. And we're going to roll down onto the right side. So from lying down on the belly, just turn on to your right side. You can bend both knees. And then we're going to slowly start to open the chest up towards the ceiling. Now you could open your left arm out to the side if that feels good. You can keep your both knees bent if you want. Or you might extend your left leg out to the side of the mat. And if you still have that strap there around the left foot, you might use the strap to hold on to your left foot. Or you might take a moment to bring the strap into your pose. You might also just use your right hand to reach for that left foot if it feels good. Again, let yourself look for an easy way to be in the pose. And if you are using a strap, if you start to tense your hand, you might also just wrap the strap around your wrist, your right wrist. So you can soften your hand, you can soften your fingers. And now in this twist, imagine your left hip, your left buttock are gently sinking down towards the mat, grounding down. Although they are in the air, they're not touching the mat, but just having that subtle pull down through the left buttock, through the back of the pelvis, might help us bring some more awareness, maybe more sensations on the outside of the left hip, left thigh, maybe along the whole left side body. And let your breaths slide down to those areas where you feel this twist most. And let the breath guide your awareness as well. Each breath at a time. Give yourself another 5 to 10 breaths in your twist, in your pose. If that's where you want to spend those 5 to 10 breaths. And then either after your 5 to 10 breaths, or when you feel ready to slowly release your twist, just keep your legs where they are. Curl back onto your right side, back towards the legs. If you have a strap around the left foot, just take that strap away, and then from your side, come back onto your belly. You can move the strap to your right hand side in case you might want to use it in that half-frog cat pulling its tail when we do it to the second side. But first, just take a moment lying down on your belly. Notice how you feel now. And then slowly with your next few breaths, or when you feel ready, we'll start to look for our way into that Sphinx pose. So you can take a slightly deeper breath in and out. Bring your chest slightly off the mat so you could pull your bolster, cushion, pillow under the chest. You can take a moment to find a good place for that support under the chest. If you think you might use that strap, you might reach for the strap so it's somewhere nearby. And then we're going to start opening the left hip, the left leg into that half frog. So slowly sliding the left leg along the floor onto your left side. Again, it might be that the left knee is bent, or you might extend the left leg further out. And then if you want, you might bend your right leg. See how that feels. That might again bring that bigger opening at the front of the right thigh, the right hip. And you might use your right hand to reach for the right foot. Or if you have a belt, if you have a strap there, just bring the strap around the right foot or ankle. And then you can use that strap to support the ankle, the foot. You might also give a bit more kind of adjustment space. So you might use that strap to bring the foot closer, or you might lean the foot a bit further back. Now see where you can find an easy place for your head, easy place for the neck. And you might make a different choice on this side than what you did on the first side. Do you want to lean your head down? Do you want to bring some support under the neck? Maybe a block or a smaller cushion? Would you like to hang your head down without any support? Or would you like to lean your head onto your hands? Maybe you can use your hands to support the neck. Or you might just keep your head upright. Lots of options. Find the shape that works for you today. Find the shape that serves your body today. And then just focus on your breath. Let your mind, your thoughts rest in observing the breath. We could spend another 5 to 10 breaths in that half frog, in the half frog pulling its tail, wherever you are in your pose. And if you feel like coming out of the pose earlier, remember that's always an option. You know your body best. And then either after your 5 to 10 breaths, or when you feel you're ready to slowly release the pose. If you have that right knee bent, just release the right leg down first. Again, if there's a strap, you can still leave the strap around the foot. Then release the left leg down, sliding the left leg next to the right leg. And then we're going to move the bolster aside and release the chest, the head down, either onto the mat, or again, you could bring hands under the head. You might rock the pelvis a bit. And also give yourself a few belly breaths here. Just notice how your lower back, the hips, the pelvic area feel now. Let out a sigh through the mouth. And then we'll continue into the twist on the other side. So we're going to roll down onto the left side. And again, to begin with, you could bend both knees. You might have a strap there around the the right foot. And then we're going to open the chest up towards the ceiling. See where you want to bring that right arm. You can also bring the arm lower down, maybe close to your side. Or you might bring the arm overhead if you want. And then you have an option to extend the right leg out to the side. You can use a strap. You can use your left hand to reach for the right foot. And then let the right side of the pelvis, your right buttock, just sink down towards the mat behind you. So as if you're very, very gently pulling the pelvis back. Maybe accessing a bit more the right buttock, the outside of the right hip, maybe outside of the right thigh. And we're not looking for intense sensations. Just very gentle sensations to begin with. And then we can slowly, breath by breath, let them sink deeper and deeper. we could spend another 5 to 10 breaths in this twist. Or you might decide to come out of the pose earlier. Again, you might make different choices on this side of the pose. And then either after your 5 to 10 breaths, or when you feel ready to do so, we're going to slowly start releasing the right leg if you have or had it extended, so that we could now slide on to the back. So slowly releasing the twist, coming to lie down on the back. And then you might move the strap aside. And either take a moment just resting. You could lean your knees against each other, walk feet out to the sides. Or if you want, you can extend your legs all the way down onto the mat. Where would you like to take a moment and then just noticing how you feel, especially around the hips, the back of the pelvis, and the lower belly, and the lower back. Then for the next pose, if you have your legs extended, just slowly bend the knees. And we're going to move into Happy Baby pose. And you can do Happy Baby with a bolster or without a bolster. If you already know where you want to find your Happy Baby, just go for it. I'll show a couple of options here. So for Happy Baby, if you want, you can bring a bolster or a cushion under the pelvis so that your buttocks are leaning onto that support. And then we would bring the knees towards the chest, turn knees towards the armpits, and then we'll reach hands for the feet, either holding the outside or inside of the feet, or maybe hold the backs of the knees if that feels better. And you can turn the soles of the feet up towards the ceiling. Or you might do the same pose without the bolster under the pelvis, so that your lower back, your pelvis are sinking down towards the mat. They don't need to touch the mat, but we're not elevating them off the mat like we are when we use the bolster. So the sensations might be different with or without the bolster. Feel free to play with those two options if you're not sure where you want to find your Happy Baby. And you decide how bent or how straight your legs are. At any point, you might come back to hugging the knees in to chest. That's always an option. And in your Happy Baby, you could send your breaths all the way down towards the pelvic floor, allowing your breaths to create space and release tension. We could spend another 5 to 10 breaths. And you're happy, baby. If you want to spend a bit longer there, again, at any point you might come back to hugging the knees. So listen to your body. And then after your 5 to 10 breaths, if you are holding your feet in a happy baby, just slowly start to bring the feet back in. Slowly close the hips. And if you have a bolster under the pelvis, you can leave it there. We are going to use it in the next pose. We'll just slowly bring the feet onto the mat, whether you have a bolster there or not. And gently swing your knees from side to side. We'll do a few windshield wipers here. It can be a bigger movement, it can be a smaller movement. See what feels good for you right now. And then bring your legs to center. We're going to next move into supported bridge. So if you don't already have a bolster or cushion or a block under the pelvis, reach for that prop and gently lift your pelvis off the mat so you can bring that prop under the pelvis or under the pelvis and lower back. You can take a moment to find a good place for your support under the pelvis, a place where you feel there's no pain in your back, there's no pain in your hips when you rest your pelvis and lower back onto that support. Now we can free our arms. You might bring arms out to the sides if you want. You could also bring arms over the head, along the mat, along the floor if you want. You can keep your knees bent, or if you want, you might extend your legs, sliding one or both legs long, keeping heels, keeping feet on the mat. Or you might opt for a butterfly shape here. You decide where you want to find your supported bridge. And then again, invite your awareness inwards to your breath. And just let yourself relax. We still have a couple of minutes in this bridge. If you want, you might adjust your legs. Or if you had one leg straight, one leg bent, you might now change your legs the other way around. Give yourself another few breaths in and out. Maybe a few just slightly deeper, bigger breaths. Allowing your breaths to slide all the way down towards the belly, towards the pelvis. Then if you have your legs extended or if you have your legs in a butterfly shape, just slowly start to find your feet back onto the mat. If you have arms overhead, you could slide your arms lower down. Reach your hands for the bolster, for the cushion. And then we're going to slide into Shavasana pose. And as you lift your pelvis off the bolster, you might just push the bolster or pillow down under your legs. Then release your back, release your pelvis down and let your legs rest on top of that support. But if that doesn't feel good for you, you can also push that bolster all the way to the side of the mat and just let yourself find Shavasana pose without that bolster. And first notice how your lower back, how your hips, your pelvis feel here. Take a few slightly slower, deeper breaths. You could exhale through the mouth, let out a sigh. Let yourself exhale any tension there might be left. Allowing yourself to melt down onto the mat. Soften your hands, soften your feet, and release your jaw. Checking that we're not biting teeth together. You might open and close your mouth a couple of times. And then give yourself a moment to rest. Give yourself a moment in silence just to notice how you feel now. Let yourself make those observations without any judgment. There's no right or wrong way to feel. Give yourself at least a few more breaths in your resting pose. If you would like to stay longer in this resting pose, I encourage you to stay as long as you have time, as long as you feel that you need to and you want to stay resting today. when you feel ready to slowly release your Shavasana pose, you can roll down onto one side. Bring yourself into a seat. Find your final seated pose. Like I said, you can extend that Shavasana pose as long as is needed today. If it's a part of your practice to close your practice with palms together in front of the chest, you can bring your hands together. And as always, at the end of the practice, most importantly, thank yourself for showing up on your mat, showing up for yourself in your practice today. And I thank you very much for joining in, for sharing this yin, for slowing things down together. Namaste. Thank you.